everybody, it's Ann from Championship Regatta Graphics. So I want to talk a little bit today about eco-friendly options and recyclability of vinyl. So as you can see here, I'm holding vinyl. I'm actually holding weeding. So when we do numbers, the stuff that's left over after we peel off the extra of the numbers looks like this. Now this is from about 1/4 of a typical bow number job. So the bow numbers are 01 to 99. They're 12-inch numbers. This is about 1/4 of that order that's left over. We also did some white panels too. I took one out to the trash the other day that was literally the size of my upper body. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, this is plastic. It is polyvinyl chloride. We use it. It is reasonably tacky. We use a lot of plastics. So we use a lot of plastics in our boats. We use a lot of plastics in our clothing that we wear for sailing, and we use a lot of plastics in the materials that we consume and discard. So there's a movement to really reduce some of this plastic, right? So I want to talk a little bit about that. There is eco-friendly recyclable vinyl, but it requires that the vinyl be recycled on both ends. And that means that when you peel those bow numbers off, your municipality where your regatta is being held has to be able to recycle that vinyl. And even more importantly, the vinyl that comes off when we weed that bow number needs to be recyclable in my municipality. Now currently right now there aren't facilities in the United States to really recycle vinyl. It's just not really practical. There's problems with the adhesive on it, and also problems with the material and the way that they're put together. So it's really hard to do that. But the movement really should be to keep the bow numbers on the boat until the regatta is over. And that's where a lot of bow number providers, particularly those that come with regattas and come from sail-offs, do a poor job. If you're going to your average sign shop, they don't know what kind of materials will stick to a boat that's going to be sailing in saltwater for 4 or 5 days under pretty demanding conditions. We do. And the reason why we do is because we've been doing this a long time. So we have found the best material to use, and that's the material that we recommend to our customers. So this is intermediate vinyl. This is permanent vinyl. So if you leave it on the boat for 6 months, you can still peel it off, but depending on the substrate or materials underneath, or if the boat's been painted, you might have some damage. Now, fiberglass hulls are not going to have any damage, and these peel up very easily even 6 months later. If you leave it on for the boat for 6 years, it'll stay there. If you leave it on for 10 years, it'll stay there. Now, what are your options for reducing single-use plastic? If your goal is to reduce single-use plastic, then look at a permanent bow number system for your boats. If you operate a club, all your club boats can have bow numbers already permanently affixed, and they can just stay there for 10 or 15 years, just like your boat registration stickers, which, by the way, we also produce a large volume of those as well. So you can use permanent bow number systems. You can do what classes like Melgis and Viper have done. They have liveried all of their boats with a permanent bow number system. Now, I get it. There are classes, I sail them, lasers and lightnings, where it's impractical to impossible to put permanent bow numbers. Can you imagine? On a laser, my laser's 116889. I think they're up to like 177,000 or something like that now of lasers. So you can have this giant number on the side of your laser. Not really practical. But lasers typically don't use bow numbers, by the way, at most regattas because they're smaller. Now lightnings do use bow numbers at regattas, but it's only really the larger regattas. So could you say have a registry of lightning owners who race in major regattas who need that bow numbering system? Sure, you could, and then you could have a permanent bow number on there, and if they sail in another event, they just use that permanent bow number in another event. There's a lot of ways to solve the permanent problem. If you are a manufacturer class, your class should be delivering the boats when they leave the factory, when they head out. They can order them, or you can order them like we do for Vipers. We have an ordering form on our website that Viper owners can come to. They can order and go. Same thing with Melgis. We have an ordering form. They can order and go. We ship them all over the world. So that's one way to reduce single-use plastic. Now, if you're talking about having stuff in the, you can see this is really sticky, having stuff in the, I'm just going to attach it to my arm like that. So if you're talking about reducing stuff in the ocean, then that is a function of the materials that we're choosing. So everything we produce for regattas is on a vinyl that will stick to the hull and it will not come off in the water. I promise you, it won't come off in the water. But your local sign shop and your sale loft cannot guarantee that. In addition, our numbers come up in pairs. So if you have 01, you don't get an O and a 1. You get 01, and you put the 01 on one side and you put the 01 on the other side. So we pair ours up too. So it's much, much easier when you're working with a provider that knows what they're doing. But that's just my little take on the eco-friendliness. Are we going to get rid of single-use plastic? Probably not likely. Are we going to be able to reduce what goes into our ocean? 100%. There's no reason at all why these materials need to go anywhere near the ocean. They go on your boat comes off, they peel off the boat, they get tossed away, and we're really hoping that municipalities will begin to recycle it. We start using recyclable material. Recyclable material without it's the vinyl chloride that's the problem, there's one chemical that's in it that is not recyclable. As we start moving to that and the whole industry moves to that, which it will, then we'll be able to recycle this material. But for now, we can't recycle it. It's got adhesives, it's got chemicals in it that we really can't do that, but we can make sure it doesn't fall off in the ocean. So that's my take on it. If you want to know more about bow numbers or even about eco-friendly bow numbers, if you're just like, hey, you know what, it would just really appease our board if we could say it's eco-friendly, even though we know we're not going to be recycling it, that's okay. It does break down. It's possible to do that. You can call me. We will talk about some eco-friendly vinyl. It's made in Europe, as most vinyl is. It's made in Europe. It is about 4 times the cost of standard vinyl. It's about in the same range, though, as permanent 15-year vinyl, though. So if you're looking for a solution like that, that's definitely an option. If you're doing printed panels, sorry, nothing recyclable there at all. The inks, everything else is permanent on that. But the good news is we can help design systems where people can peel off those graphics off their boats, stick them on their dock boxes and other things like that, on their wall, in their garage, whatever. Those things are reusable, so those can be reusable. And again, nothing's going to fall off in the ocean while you're sailing. I promise. Or in a lake or wherever you're going to be sailing. So just remember, recyclable vinyl is a thing, but it's not very practical right now. But permanent numbers that won't come off in the ocean, 100%. We can absolutely do that right now. So I'm going to yeet this over here and just let you know that there are solutions to getting rid of this stuff, and we're working towards them. But in the meantime, when you need to run a regatta and you need bow numbers, you definitely need to be using the right materials. So give us a call. We'll help you source it. We'll help you get sorted out. So that's my eco-friendly talk.